been told to cut out dairy? Did your first thought immediately panic? Oh no, goodbye strong bones and healthy teeth. That's a common reaction. We were taught from childhood that milk is the primary, irreplaceable source of calcium. But what if I told you that this is one of the biggest nutritional myths out there? What if you could not just survive, but truly thrive without dairy, getting all the calcium you need from the most unexpected sources? In this video, we're not just going to bust that myth. We're going to give you a complete guide to the world of dairy-free calcium. I'll show you 20 amazing foods and food groups, many of which contain even more calcium than famous dairy sources like cottage cheese or yogurt, ready to completely change the way you think about nutrition. Then stick around until the end, and you'll never fear calcium deficiency again. Before we dive into our list, let's quickly establish why there is such a fuss about calcium in the first place. Calcium is more than just the building block for our bones and teeth, although that is certainly its most recognized job. This essential mineral is involved in muscle contraction, nerve signal transmission, and even blood clotting. Without sufficient calcium, our bodies literally start to break down. So why did milk achieve the status of the king of calcium? It comes down to two simple things: marketing and accessibility. For decades, the dairy industry invested massive amounts of money to convince us that their products were irreplaceable. And it worked. But nature is far more creative than any marketing executive. It has provided dozens of fantastic calcium sources that don't come with the baggage of allergies, lactose intolerance, or other dairy-related issues. It's time we got acquainted. Let's start with the big one. It is time to completely shatter the myth that milk is indispensable. Picture a massive pedestal with a carton of milk sitting on top, while every other food bows down to it. This mental image is completely misleading. In reality, the bioavailability of calcium from milk, meaning how much our body can actually absorb, is far from 100%. What's more, for many people dealing with lactose intolerance or an allergy to the protein casein, dairy products actually do more damage than good, often triggering inflammation and serious digestive problems. Chronic inflammation, in turn, actively prevents your body from absorbing all essential nutrients, including calcium. Therefore, the belief that ditching dairy automatically leads to brittle bones is a dangerous and widespread misconception. In fact, a well-planned, dairy-free diet can be much more efficient and effective when it comes to bone strengthening. The key is knowing exactly where to find the real champions of calcium content. Say hello to the true kings of calcium, dark leafy greens, and the #1 spot goes to kale. Just 1 cup of cooked kale packs roughly 180 milligrams of calcium. But it's not just the quantity that matters. The calcium found in kale, collard greens, and bok choy is absorbed by your body nearly twice as well as the calcium from milk. Now, spinach presents a slightly more complicated story. While it is very high in calcium, it also contains oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium and prevent your body from fully absorbing it. That doesn't mean you should cut spinach out entirely. Just don't rely on it as your primary calcium source. Instead, think of kale, broccoli, and mustard greens as your green light for maintaining strong bones. Simply toss them into salads, blend them into smoothies, sauté them, or steam them lightly. It's an easy and incredibly beneficial way to meet a significant portion of your daily need for this essential mineral. Now, let's turn our attention to the world of tiny, yet mighty, seeds. Our first star player is the humble sesame seed. Prepare to be amazed. Just 100 grams of sesame seeds pack nearly 1,000 milligrams of calcium. That's practically a full day's supply for an adult. Now, eating 100 grams of seeds in one sitting might be a bit challenging, but thankfully, there's a delicious workaround. Tahini, also known as sesame paste. Just 2 tablespoons of tahini will net you about 130 milligrams of that essential calcium. You can whisk it into hummus, use it as the base for creamy salad dressings, or simply spread it on whole grain toast. Beyond bone strength, sesame seeds are loaded with copper, manganese, and beneficial healthy fats. It's a true superfood that's incredibly easy to integrate into almost any diet. So the next time you prepare a salad or a stir-fry, make sure to generously sprinkle on those nutritious sesame seeds. Sticking with the topic of seeds, we absolutely have to talk about chia seeds. They've become incredibly popular in recent years, and for good reason. Just 2 tablespoons of these tiny seeds pack about 180 milligrams of readily absorbable calcium. That's more calcium than you'd find in half a cup of milk. But the benefits don't stop there. Chia seeds are also packed with fiber, protein, and essential omega-3 fatty acids, all crucial for heart and brain health. The easiest way to incorporate them into your diet is by making chia pudding. Simply soak a few spoonfuls of the seeds in a plant-based milk, like almond or coconut. Add some fruit or berries, and let it sit overnight in the fridge. In the morning, you'll have a delicious and incredibly healthy breakfast waiting for you. It will give you a great energy boost and provide that generous dose of bone-strengthening calcium. Now let's talk about nuts. When it comes to calcium content, the undisputed leader among nuts is the almond. A single handful of almonds, roughly 23 kernels, contains about 80 milligrams of calcium. This makes for an excellent and convenient on-the-go snack. Furthermore, almonds are rich in vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy monounsaturated fats. Almonds are also used to make the popular plant-based drink, almond milk. However, there is one important detail to keep in mind. When selecting store-bought almond milk, always pay close attention to the label. Opt for a product that has been specifically fortified with calcium. In these fortified varieties, the calcium content can reach up to 450 milligrams per cup, making it an excellent alternative to dairy milk for use in cereal, coffee, or smoothies. Unfortified milk, however, contains significantly less calcium. Most people think of broccoli primarily as a source of vitamin C, and they'd be right. But this green powerhouse is also packing a decent amount of calcium. Just 1 cup of cooked broccoli delivers roughly 60 milligrams of calcium. While that might not seem like a lot compared to some other foods, broccoli has a significant advantage: its highly effective absorption rate. The bioavailability of calcium from broccoli is incredibly high. Your body can absorb more than 50% of this mineral. For comparison, the absorption rate from milk is only around 30%. Furthermore, broccoli contains vitamin K, which is critical for bone health. It helps ensure that calcium is directed specifically into the bone tissue, rather than accumulating in your arteries. So, whether you add it to soups, stews, roast it, or enjoy it raw, your bones will definitely thank you. And here's a truly unexpected, yet incredibly powerful source of calcium: canned fish with bones. We're talking specifically about sardines and canned salmon. The secret lies in the canning process, which makes the small bones extremely soft. So soft that we eat them right along with the fish without even noticing. And it's precisely these tiny, edible bones that contain a massive amount of calcium. A single standard can of sardines can deliver up to 350 milligrams of calcium. That's almost a third of your recommended daily allowance. Plus, this fish is an excellent source of vitamin D, which is absolutely crucial for calcium absorption, as well as beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. Simply toss some sardines into your salad, or make a quick sandwich on whole grain bread. It's a fast, affordable, and highly effective way to strengthen your bones. Let's move on to legumes. Beans, chickpeas, lentils, and mung beans are fantastic plant-based sources, not just for protein and fiber, but also for calcium. For example, 1 cup of cooked white beans provides about 160 milligrams of calcium. A cup of chickpeas offers around 80 milligrams. Legumes are incredibly versatile in the kitchen. You can turn them into soups, curries, salads, hummus, veggie burgers, and so much more. However, just like spinach, legumes contain phytic acid, which can slightly inhibit mineral absorption. But there's a simple fix for this. Soaking the legumes for a few hours or overnight before cooking significantly reduces the phytic acid content and boosts the bioavailability of calcium and other nutrients. So, don't skip soaking your beans. It's a small step that offers huge benefits. Tofu is a fantastic discovery for anyone looking for an alternative to cottage cheese or regular cheese. Tofu is essentially soybean curd, derived directly from soybeans. While tofu naturally contains a moderate amount of calcium, the real secret lies in how it's produced. Most manufacturers use calcium sulfate as a coagulant to set the soy milk. The result is a product that is incredibly rich in calcium. Just 100 grams, about 3.5 ounces, of this firm tofu can contain anywhere from 300 to 600 milligrams of calcium. This truly makes it one of the absolute champions on our list. Always check the label to confirm that calcium sulfate is listed in the ingredients. Tofu can be pan-fried, baked, crumbled into soups and salads, blended into savory spreads, and even used in desserts. It's an affordable, highly versatile food for building and maintaining strong bones. Craving something sweet and wholesome? Figs are the answer, especially dried figs. Just 5 medium-sized dried figs contain about 135 milligrams of calcium, making them a fantastic alternative to candy or cookies. Figs are also rich in fiber, which aids digestion, and potassium, which helps manage blood pressure. Dried figs can be eaten simply as a snack, added to your morning oatmeal, stirred into plant-based yogurt, or incorporated into baking. Fresh figs also contain calcium, though in a lower concentration. This is just more proof that bone-healthy foods don't have to be limited to green vegetables or salty items. They can be incredibly delicious and sweet, too. Just remember to enjoy them in moderation, as dried figs are high in natural sugars. Who knew that oranges packed more than just vitamin C? A single large orange contains about 70 milligrams of calcium. While that might not break any records, it's a nice little bonus for your energy and immune system. But the story gets even more interesting when we talk about orange juice. Much like plant-based milks, many manufacturers fortify orange juice with extra calcium and vitamin D. Just one glass of this enriched juice can contain up to 350 milligrams of calcium, the same amount found in a glass of milk. This can be a great option for people who struggle to incorporate enough vegetables or nuts into their diet. However, it's crucial to remember that juices are high in sugar and lack dietary fiber, which means whole fruits should always be the priority. But as part of a well-balanced diet, fortified orange juice can certainly be a helpful supplement. Let's dive into the ocean depths for our next source of calcium. Seaweeds like wakame, kombu, and nori are true mineral powerhouses. They absorb all the nutrients and richness of the sea, making them incredibly beneficial. For example, just 1 cup of raw wakame, the seaweed commonly found in miso soup, contains 130 milligrams of calcium. What's more, seaweed is one of the best natural sources of iodine, which is absolutely essential for thyroid health. You can add them to soups and salads, use them to make sushi rolls, or simply enjoy them as crunchy chips. It's a fantastic way to diversify your diet, add an exotic flair, and boost your calcium intake at the same time. The world of seaweed is vast and varied, so don't hesitate to experiment and find your favorite types. Don't forget to incorporate whole grains, especially those ancient varieties, like amaranth and teff. A single cup of cooked amaranth provides around 120 milligrams of calcium, which is notably higher than most other grains. Amaranth is also unique because it is a complete protein source, containing all the essential amino acids. You can cook it like a cereal, incorporate it into soups, or use the flour for baking. Teff, a traditional Ethiopian grain, also offers an impressive calcium content, providing about 120 milligrams per cooked cup. Substituting these ancient grains for standard choices like wheat or rice won't just boost your calcium intake, it will also make your diet much more diverse and nutritious. These grains make an excellent side dish or a satisfying base for your main meal. Here's a product that might genuinely surprise you: blackstrap molasses. It's a thick, dark syrup, created as a byproduct during the refining of sugar. While the sugar is processed into that white crystalline product, all the beneficial minerals are left behind in the molasses, and it is incredibly rich in calcium. Just 1 single tablespoon of blackstrap molasses contains up to 200 milligrams of calcium. That's nearly 20% of your recommended daily intake. Beyond calcium, it is also highly concentrated in iron, magnesium, and potassium. Of course, we must remember that it is still a sugar, and consumption should be moderate. But if you're looking to sweeten up your oatmeal, baked goods, or tea, blackstrap molasses is a far more nutrient-dense choice than regular refined sugar or even honey. It does have a distinctive, somewhat bitter-sweet flavor, but most people find they adapt to it very quickly. We've mentioned fortified foods several times now. Let's take a closer look at exactly what they are. Fortification is the process where manufacturers artificially add vitamins and minerals to foods that naturally contain very little or none at all. This is done to boost the overall nutritional value of the food and help prevent deficiencies across the general population. Calcium is one of the most commonly used minerals for fortification. You'll find it added to plant-based milks like soy, almond, and oat, as well as orange juice, breakfast cereals, and even some types of bread. This offers a very convenient way to meet your daily calcium requirements, especially for those who don't have the time or ability to meticulously plan their diet. The main rule, however, is to always read the label and ingredient list. Look for the phrase, "fortified with calcium," and check the nutrition facts panel for the specific amounts. The plant-based milk market is enormous. Almond, soy, coconut, oat, rice. How do you choose the best one, especially when you're looking to boost your calcium intake? As we've mentioned before, the key is fortification. Always opt for versions with added calcium. But which one is truly the best? Soy milk is an excellent choice because it's also high in protein. Fortified soy milk has a nutritional profile that is the closest match to cow's milk. Almond milk is a low-calorie option, but it contains virtually no protein. Oat milk offers a wonderful creamy texture and blends well in coffee, but be aware that it can contain more added sugar. Rice milk is often the most hypoallergenic option, though it tends to be quite watery and lacks significant nutritional value. Therefore, if your primary goals are calcium and protein, enriched soy milk is going to be your top choice. In all other cases, simply follow your taste preferences and dietary needs. Imagine calcium is the bricks and vitamin D is the builder. Without the builder, those bricks just sit there in a useless pile. It's exactly the same with calcium. You could consume massive amounts of calcium-rich foods, but if you have a vitamin D deficiency, your body simply won't absorb it or deliver it to your bones. Vitamin D helps your gut absorb calcium from the food you eat. The primary source of vitamin D is sunlight. Our skin naturally produces it when exposed to ultraviolet light. However, in most regions, especially during the fall and winter, sun exposure is insufficient. This is why monitoring your vitamin D level is crucial. You can obtain vitamin D from sources like fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods. But more often than not, doctors recommend taking it in supplement form, particularly during the darker months of the year. Without vitamin D, all your efforts to boost your calcium intake could ultimately be wasted. However, vitamin D isn't calcium's only partner. We have two other vital players, magnesium and vitamin K2. Magnesium helps regulate both calcium and vitamin D levels in the body. Crucially, it ensures that calcium doesn't get deposited in soft tissues, like your arteries and blood vessels, but instead goes exactly where it's needed, the bones. Great sources of magnesium include nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, and green leafy vegetables. That means many of these are the same foods already rich in calcium. Vitamin K2 works in tandem with vitamin D. It activates the proteins responsible for integrating calcium directly into the bone matrix. Simply put, it literally acts as the cement for your bones. You can find vitamin K2 in fermented foods, such as sauerkraut, natto, which are fermented soybeans, as well as in egg yolks and liver. Ultimately, bone health is a true team effort, and calcium is only one member of the squad. We've spent a lot of time discussing the things that boost calcium absorption. Now let's look at the flip side. What actually gets in its way? This is where anti-nutrients come in. These compounds can bind to calcium, essentially locking it up and preventing your body from absorbing it. We've previously mentioned common culprits like oxalates found in spinach and phytates found in legumes and grains. Fortunately, their negative impact can be significantly reduced simply by soaking or cooking them. Another major factor that actively works against calcium is excess sodium. In other words, too much salt. When you consume too many salty foods, your kidneys work overtime to flush out the excess sodium. And when sodium is excreted, calcium often gets pulled right out of the body along with it. That's why it's really important to try and limit your intake of heavily processed foods, fast food, and overly salty snacks. Caffeine is another item that can slightly inhibit calcium absorption, though the effect is usually quite minor. If you stick to just 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, and your diet is generally rich in calcium, there's absolutely no need to worry. Ultimately, it all comes down to balance. So how do we put all this knowledge together and structure a full day's nutrition? Let's walk through a sample plan. For breakfast, let's have oatmeal cooked with fortified soy milk, incorporating a tablespoon of chia seeds, a handful of almonds, and a few pieces of dried figs. For lunch, prepare a large kale and chickpea salad, topped with sesame seeds and drizzled with a tahini dressing. You can complement this with a slice of baked tofu. For dinner, enjoy a portion of canned salmon served with a side of steamed broccoli and amaranth. As snacks throughout the day, reach for an orange or a handful of nuts. This meal plan doesn't just fully meet your calcium requirements. It also provides essential protein, fiber, healthy fats, and a wide array of other vitamins and minerals. As you can see, eating a diverse and nutritious diet without relying on dairy is surprisingly simple. And there you have it, everyone. We've just covered 20 alternative sources and crucial aspects related to calcium. As you can see, the world of nutrition is far richer and more diverse than marketing slogans often try to convince us. Giving up dairy isn't a death sentence for your bones. It's an opportunity to discover new flavors and make your diet truly healthy and balanced. The main takeaway we can establish is this: the key to health isn't one superfood, but variety, and knowing how different elements work together. Sesame seeds, sardines, kale, and tofu, they all contribute to our health, especially when they team up with vitamins D and K. Now you are armed with the knowledge to build a diet for strong bones without a single drop of milk. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. If you learned something new and useful, please support the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing so you don't miss our future myth-busting nutrition content. Now, for a question for you. Which of these foods do you already eat regularly, and what was a total game changer or discovery for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited to read them.